Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to Living Naturally with Michaela. I'm Michaela, your guide to whole health transformation. And I'm so happy that you tuned in for this special show. This month's theme is Root to Rise, restoring balance before the new year. It's all about helping you to stabilize your body, your foundation, the body, clear your internal environment, the mind, reconnect to what matters, spirit, and embody gratitude and wholeness, soul, all before stepping into the new year. I didn't do weekly videos this month because, well, it's getting to that time of year where schedules are tight and time is limited. Everything is rush, 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 which is why today we're talking about how stress and overload can drain your energy and lead to burnout. Joining me today for this conversation is my now good friend and mindset medicine strategist, Dr. Tanya B. She's a leader in helping people align their mindset with their vision for life and the perfect person to talk to about this. So, welcome, Dr. Tanya. I'm happy to have you on this conversation again today.
Thanks so much. I'm so happy to be here. It's a great topic.
It really is, and I feel like it's very timely. Now, some of you might be watching this later, but at the time that we are doing this, this is November. We're starting to get towards the holiday season.
Mhm.
I'm in America, so we have the American Thanksgiving coming up, and then of course the whole Christmas season, New Year, and all that kind of stuff. And it
Mhm.
seems like when we get to this time of the year, everything just gets turned up a notch. you know
Yes.
so let's just just get to the crux of the matter. It's like
Yeah.
stress,
Mhm.
information overload, and self-criticism. I feel are few of the major issues, or a few of the major issues that drain us, particularly this time of
Mhm.
year, and can lead to mental clutter.
Yeah.
And when we move towards this time of the year, again, these issues seems to heighten, and many people burn out. So let's talk about some strategies for mental decluttering, as we like to call it, that
Mhm.
can help people gain clarity and focus through the end of the year and maybe hold off that burnout.
Mhm. Let's do it. So here's where I'm gonna just immediately go with this is so often when you are talking about mental clarity, it is rooted in cultural expectation. It's in the
Mhm.
stories and the narratives that we are creating and trying to live up to what we believe are the expectations for ourselves and all of the things, like all of the tentacles then that are
Yeah.
pushing out from that. And then you start to add all of the overload that comes from that. So, it's the emotional labor of carrying everything at home. It's the career drive that is or isn't real and the expectation that you have to do all of the things. It's if you have a partner and children, it's every child asking you for everything at every moment is, parents asking you for things. And then you add holiday on top of that. And the overload is it's incredible and overwhelming. And so you have to start to unravel some of those expectations and make sure that you and I started to have this conversation earlier.
Yeah.
Make sure that we're not doing this from a place of people pleasing. So whether it's just living life
Yes.
or moving into the holiday season, we are not doing this from this place of meeting expectations for other people or pleasing because that was what we thought we should be doing, or that's the place that's comfortable for us while it makes us unhappy. So I really feel like you have to figure out what that is and realize what the story and the narrative is so that you can then start to write it in a way that makes sense for you and sort of live in that place versus this other place.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. One of these jumped out at me
Mhm.
when you said it's people pleasing.
Yeah.
People pleasing. And I know around the holidays it gets
Mhm.
it
Mhm.
yeah, there are a lot of people that
Yeah,
are
and then
trying to
think about
people
it,
please.
it's not just like there's a financial expectation, right? I have to
Yeah.
buy these gifts, I have to pay for the
Mhm.
dinner, I have to do all of these things, and then there's this other, like, time expectation where you have to go to 12 parties
Oh,
and,
yes.
all of these things that you have to get done. And then
Yeah.
you still have the career, and then you still have that, like everybody else's things that have to happen. And so it's too much. And so again, you have to decide if that is the thing that's serving you. And it's okay. We've talked about this lots. Like, it is okay to say no. It is okay to say, I just can't do that right now. And I feel like we are moving into a time in this world where it's easier to say, I can't. I'm not capable of holding that right now. It's not okay for me to do these 8 things right now. I really have to step back from this thing. And I feel like people are starting to receive that a little bit
Yeah.
more. The first time you do it, it's especially with a group that's not used to hearing that from you. It's a little bit challenging, but it's okay. We, like, our family, because we're also in America, and we do Thanksgiving not on Thanksgiving, because I got tired of competing with all of the other families and everybody. So I've got 3 kids, and then I've got extended family, and everybody was going places and then coming to our house later. And it was making me unhappy to
Yeah.
realize that everybody was coming late, they were coming full, they were coming cranky. And then what I was getting was sort of this leftover of like
Yeah.
crankiness that it wasn't a good time for any of us. And then my feelings are hurt because I didn't get an equal amount of time, and all
Yeah.
of those expectations that I was putting on those people. And so what we started doing was a very non-traditional day where our family get together is on Saturday. And so that's okay. Everybody do your thing on Thursday with all of your other families,
Right.
and the other moms are happy because they're getting the holiday. And I don't care about the holiday. I care about the time and getting
Right.
my
Right.
fair share, right? And so I sat everybody down and said, this is what I want. How do we want to do it? And we decided we would do it Saturday. And so we often, depending on the weather, we'll go for a little walk in the woods, and then
Yeah.
we'll come home. And typically I don't even do a traditional dinner. We do like soup and sandwiches, or like charcuterie or snacks or soup. Like, it just
Yeah.
doesn't even matter, dips or whatever. It doesn't matter. And then we
Yeah.
do like kindergarten crafts that I think are hysterical. Like, we choose a craft of the year, and then I think they're going to take them all home. And then I spend the year finding them all over my house because they never took them home. So like,
That's
I
funny.
love and that makes everybody happy because we've taken the pressure off. They're not
Yeah.
trying to meet anybody else's expectations. You don't have to show up a certain way with a certain dress. We're just going to come and we're going to enjoy each other. And that's all that really matters.
No, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That reminds me of something that I am constantly telling my clients and myself. So I have to remind myself too. No,
Fine.
it's a complete sentence. You can
Totally
say
is.
no.
Yeah.
You
It
don't.
doesn't have to be aggressive. You can say it with a smile. No.
Yes, exactly. And I think when we get into people pleasing mode, we have a hard time saying no because we don't want people to dislike us, or
Mm-hmm.
or you feel like we're going to let someone down. And
Yeah.
but I challenge those that are watching or listening to put yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do for yourself? Why
Mm.
are you less important to please and than
Yeah.
others? So maybe
That
you need to try people pleasing you instead of
Yep,
people pleasing.
yeah. I'm sure that I've told you this, but I've said this to you before, but I spent this whole week, talking to college students about self-care, and they're coming up on finals, so they don't really wanna hear me
Yes.
talk about this, but we're doing it anyway. And so mindfulness and self-care. And so when I talk to them about self-care, and when I talk to my clients about self-care, what I'm saying is, like, there's the definition is in the words, right? Like, it's already there, it's defined. But there's a quote, and I think I probably have shared this with you previously. There's a quote that I absolutely love by blogger Katie Reed. And what she says is, self-care is giving the world the best of you, not the rest of you. So when
Yeah.
you are doing exactly what you were saying, is when you are thinking about serving yourself, what actually happens is you end up serving everyone and everything else from a better place, which then has a better result. And I think that's just amazing. That's when you think about it that way, because especially for women, we really struggle with like putting
Yes.
ourselves first, not being being the priority. It's not an easy thing. But when you stop and you think about, if you are putting yourself first and you are the priority, then you're actually serving your other priorities better. And I think
Yeah.
that's really important.
Yeah, that is. All right, so I have one more
Yep.
before we end on this one, because I'm trying to hit the things that I know that people struggle with, particularly this time of year. And that other one is perfectionism.
Ugh.
I know you have a lot to say about that one. So
Yeah.
perfection, because it's like trying to have the
Mhm.
house be perfect, the perfect
Yep.
Christmas tree, the perfect dinner, the perfect Everything you
Yeah.
there's this level of perfectionism
Mhm.
this time of year that so many people try to attain to the
Mhm.
point that is it's unattainable.
It
Really.
is.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
because if you pursue perfectionism, it's never going to be perfect.
Mhm. Yeah. And
So,
also, like, unattainable, and then even if you achieve it for a hot minute, it's not sustainable, right? You're not gonna hold that up, not by a
yeah,
long shot. Yeah, and I'm gonna say this goes right back to the same stories and roots that we were already talking about, like, perfectionism is rooted in all of that. It's a story that you were taught, it's a cultural expectation, things that you think are supposed to be happening, and I struggle with this too, and I have for a really long time. I'm getting much better at it because what I realize is people don't want perfection. They want authentic. They want
yeah,
to know, and I know that's a trendy word and it sounds fluffy and all of that, but it's true, right? It is true.
right.
People want to know you. They want to know that you mess up. They want to know that you make mistakes. They want to know that you like, because the other thing that I do is I'm not a great cook. And so one of my sons he actually put, the ability to use a fire extinguisher on his resume because he had done that so many times with my cooking. And so, like, it's okay. And it's funny. It's okay to laugh at yourself when you make mistakes. It's perfectly fine. When I record my podcast, I leave in a lot of mistakes so people know it's not like this polished, perfect thing. It's really me being there and
Yeah,
showing up in the way that I'm supposed to be. So my house is never 100% perfect. I do my best. We clean it up and, we try to mostly make it look like it's in order. And then that's what you get. That is as good
yeah,
as it. And that's okay. People want that. Because you had also mentioned earlier self-criticism, and we're doing that because we're comparing, right? Social media
yes,
does that to us, but we're doing that when we're looking at our friends, when we're looking at our families, when we're comparing, and then we're criticizing ourselves. And so if you can show people a little bit of lightness and a little bit of grace, then that's okay. And they're going to feel better about you too.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And actually, I think self-criticism and perfectionism, they kind of go hand in hand
Absolutely.
because we're criticized because when we're trying to achieve perfection, we're over criticizing ourselves.
Mhm. Yep.
So I think those two kind of go hand in hand, and I
Yeah,
truly
they're
believe
perfect.
too that a lot of perfectionism goes back to a
Yes.
lot of childhood trauma.
Yep. Yep.
Try for whatever reason. I mean,
Mhm.
there are different things that led there, but I think a lot of it comes from childhood. So it's
Yep.
not something that just one day just pops
It
up.
didn't
I
just
think
yeah, it did not
most
just pop up. Yep.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
your
most people
stories
that
were told.
struggle with
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. I think most people that struggle with perfectionism have struggled with it since childhood. And
Mhm.
so they get used to it.
Mhm.
And I would challenge people because whenever I'm dealing with clients, I always tell them awareness is the first step.
Mhm.
So I would challenge those that are listening that if you're one of those ones that, struggle with perfectionism or you find that, you have a lot of negative self-talk and everything,
Yep.
is to start making yourself aware of that
Mhm.
and then maybe start trying to be kinder to yourself.
Yes. I
Yeah.
will add to that, like, start asking questions. Once you
Yeah.
become aware, it's the why. Why is this important? What is this gonna hurt?
Yeah.
Why? Why am I thinking about this? And what is the worst case scenario? Like,
Yeah.
what is going to be the worst case? If somebody walks in my house on that Thanksgiving Saturday and something doesn't look perfect, what is the worst thing that's going to happen? They're
Yeah.
probably gonna my kids are gonna make fun of me for it, and that's fine. We're all gonna laugh about it. But really, like, what is the worst case? Because it's usually not nearly as bad as you've got built up.
Yeah. Oh, I have one more thing that pop up. I know this is we did not have this one all planned out, by the way. This is
Exactly.
like
One
whatever
thing
comes
leads to
up.
the next,
Yeah,
always.
exactly. I have one other thing pop
Mhm.
up that I think is very, very important, particularly this time of year. Boundaries. We
Oh.
preach about boundaries a lot, but I would like to remind everyone to have good boundaries.
Mhm,
That is what's going to save you from being stressed out. Okay.
mhm,
People pleasers tend to have very loose boundaries. All right. And,
mhm.
I can get into the whole mind body connection and how lack of boundaries, messes with your gut and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yep.
But for this conversation, we're just going to leave that over
Mhm.
there for now. But boundaries are your friend.
Mhm.
especially this time of year. And
Yeah.
as we said earlier, it's okay to say no. It is okay to say no.
100%.
It
Mhm.
is, it is, I was talking about this just earlier today, and I will share this. I had posted something on the lines of when you establish a boundary or express a boundary, some people will think you mean. When you hold that boundary, some will think that you're unreasonable.
Mhm.
But the fact is, it's your boundary, and no one else gets a say.
Mhm.
People,
Absolutely.
it's like people will only do what you will allow them to do. So it's up to
Yeah.
you to
Mhm.
establish what you're willing to put up with,
Mhm.
and establishing that boundary for yourself.
Yeah.
And
That's your
you owe it,
self-preservation,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Mhm.
And you owe it to yourself to have those
Yes.
boundaries.
Yes, for all of the reasons we just talked about. And then the one thing that I think you can do, so if that no is really hard or it feels too harsh, the other thing that you can do is add to that, I can't do this, but I can do this. And then you can give an alternative that
Yeah,
is comfortable for you. And most people will be okay with that. They'll recognize that, okay, you really can't, and it's too much for this, but I'll
yeah,
take what you can give me and be happy with that. So
yeah.
if that's the step that you need to take, then take that step.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have given the audience a few things they can work with. You did mention your podcast, so I wanted to throw that out there because we actually started this conversation on the podcast I did with you, and I would like to encourage people to go and listen to that because we were actually talking about burnout
Mhm.
on Dr. Tanya's podcast,
Yep.
and it just so happens that it really kind of clicked with what
It
I was
did.
talking about this month, so it
It
worked out
did. I loved it.
perfectly.
Yeah.
And I actually have like a little mini course that I have coming up that I'm going to release at the end of the month too, and it's called Burnout to Balance. So it all
Nice.
kind of
Nice.
works together,
Yep.
particularly again for this time of year where people tend to do too much when they
Mhm.
don't need to, and it leads to stress and overload and mental fog
Mhm.
and burnout. So
Yep.
do yourself a favor and, enjoy the holidays without the burnout. Establish some boundaries. Say no. Don't worry about being perfect and stop criticizing yourself.
Amen, sister.
All right. Well, do you have anything that you would like to leave the audience with at this time?
No, I think that will do it. I loved everything you just wrapped us up with. It is remember the reason, remember what we're doing, why we're doing this. It's not for the pressure, just it's for your
Yeah.
enjoyment. Mhm.
Yeah. And, I would like to add one last thing too is that if you start caring for yourself now and becoming aware of these issues, maybe by the time you get to the first of the year,
We'll be ready.
it won't be so much like, oh my gosh,
I have to start all over.
all righty. Well, thank you, Dr. Tanya, for sharing your wisdom on mindset and alignment with us to get us through this holiday season and the end of the year. And thank you once again for tuning in. I am Michaela, your guide to whole health transformation, reminding you that wellness isn't a destination, it's your daily journey. See you next time. Bye.